$150 US for something 6 months ago, I think you'd be struggling to get your money back on those. But I sold off all my mocks except for about 3 or 4, so it doesn't bother me. Got all my loosies because only a crazy person would sell all their loose collection.
Well, I never sold all of them. I only sold series 5 to 11. I pretty much agree with Chris. I think the pre-production stuff will always hold its value, but over time, it's I look at it this way, right? I've kept all the Hasbros that I'm really passionate about and nostalgic about, with the intention of never selling them. So if I die with them and pass to my boys, or if they go down to 0 in value, I'm okay with that. I've offloaded everything I think at a decent peak. There's such a wide variety of stuff. Like I think anything in your earlier series, I think will hold its value, if not keep going up. Prices have gone silly, but it's like everything, right? You just never know. It may have a use by date. Once our kids my kids are old, they probably don't even want them, so they'll probably just log them off.
The other thing is look at sports cards. Sports cards have been going up and down for the last 10 years. Hey, somebody else has commented they have the pinball machine. Don't know who it is because you can't see your name, but that's very cool. Could be Frank P, that comment. And Luke Young giving the top tip. Luke Young's on fire tonight, probably, I'm going to say, commenter of the night. And he says that Harvey Norman has the NBA Jam arcade machines and the Turtles ones to test out. So guess where I'm going tomorrow, James?
Yeah, mate. Let us know how you go.
Down to my local. I'll go live if I can find one at Harvey Norman. I'll go live and just play it, and everyone can just watch me, and I'll go, "Ha, I'm playing games, and you're at work."
Well, let's get back on track, mate. I think that wraps up what's online. Yeah,
sure does.
All right. Well, let's get into Fig preview and review.
It's time to review a Fig from today or the past. Which will it be? Stay tuned to find out.
Now, I've just looked at those comments, and I noticed Peter Poulos. Thank you, my friend. He's with me with DiBiase in his grandfather's green pajamas. So, member of the year contention there, Chris, because he backed me up, unlike someone else I know. Alrighty, Fig preview and review. What are we up to now? Mattel Legends Series 8. Now we've got to make a decision when we cut the Legends line off, because they're still releasing them. Yeah,
so I reckon we cut them off at 11.
Okay, cool.
Because we've got 11 in hand.
Yeah.
I can't even remember what 12 is, but I may have some 12s here. But I just think we go to 11 and then we'll move on, and we'll start Jacks. It'll take us for the next 4 years.
Yeah, awesome. What do you think of this line? So we've got Ultimate Warrior, Jake the Snake. With Chase Variant, Eddie Guerrero, and Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff.
Well, the Ultimate Warrior being the nights before he died, the Hall of Fame induction warrior was one of the best figures of that year, in my opinion. Absolutely fantastic. Disappointed. Is this your photo, James?
No, I've got this off Google.
Oh, well, professional. Disappointing that he's not wearing the mask. You've got to have the mask on the Warrior figure. If you've got that figure, put the mask on. Absolutely love that figure, though. The Eddie Guerrero, fantastic. Jake the Snake, they've nailed it. I prefer the green pant, Jake the Snake, than the brown pant. And Mr. Wonderful looks just like him. I have the figure, but I don't think it is a must-have. Thoughts?
Yeah. I think the Warrior definitely in his top 5, and it's a great figure. But what the moment it represents, and it's his last moment that people will remember him by, I guess. Last time they saw him. Such a special figure. I've got that. I've got the green pants Jake the Snake, beautiful figure. I can't split between that. Actually, no, I'm going to make a decision. I'm going to go the Warrior was my favorite. Mr. Wonderful, I left because I had the original one that was released in the earlier series. And Eddie Guerrero, he's great wrestler. I loved watching him, but he was outside of my collecting scope. But above all, a great series. Series 8.
I've got them all up in my collection. I actually even bought 2 Eddie Guerreros and 2 Jakes to give to my son. He didn't want the Ultimate Warrior Granddad figure because he he just doesn't quite get the relevance. But for me, Ultimate Warrior, figure of the line of that series, and the Eddie Guerrero, also incredibly good figure. Would have loved for it to come with a belt, but be there as it may. That's what we got. Yeah. Very good set. That was the one that sort of got me back into the Legends.
Yeah. It's funny. The Legends line started out not that well, and by about Series 4 really started to ramp up, and then I think it got to Series 6 and died in the arse again.
Yeah,
with the Bobby Heenan, the Weasel suit, but this Legends Series 8, and they seem to get better and better. And even though I'm getting older, I don't see some of the wrestlers they're releasing now as Legends, but the figures themselves are really, really good. So
so you'll be getting that Hurricane, won't you?
I'll be getting 2 of them.
Yeah.
2 of them. All right. Well, that wraps up our Fig preview and review. And now it's time to hear another word from our major sponsors, Go Figure Collectibles.
Coming towards the ring,
Mattel, Jax, Hasbro, LJN, Remco, Super 7. Are you looking for a store that stacks all the latest and greatest wrestling figures? Then look no further, because Go Figure Collectibles has everything you're looking for. Jeff and the team at Go Figure Collectibles are always filling the shelves with the latest releases and buying up old cherished collections to fulfill any vintage collection needs. Visit them online at gofigurecollectibles.com.au, or if you're in the Melbourne area, go check out their store at 104 Bakers Road, Coburg, North Victoria, and introduce yourself to Jeff and the team. Plus, Wrestling with Figure podcast listeners can use the code FDU5 to save 5% off your next purchase store-wide. That's Go Figure Collectibles.
Question time, Jamesy. What have you got for us? What are the questions?
Well, tonight there can only be one winner because the one person has written in 2 questions from our good friend Luke Young. Thank you, Luke Young. Okay, you ready, big fella? Question number 1. What celebrities would you like to see get a figure, retro or elite? I'm going to go first. Here. It's not really a celebrity, but you know who I think deserves a figure?
Who?
Any wave. And actually, you know what? He deserves one from every in every type of figure, and that's Vladimir, super fan. I think he would sell really well. And you think about it, right? I reckon every single person in our group that watched old school wrestling would have always noticed Vladimir in the front row with his big glasses. He was jacked in his singlet. Everyone would have said to themselves, "God, that guy's at every single event." I guarantee it. If you didn't notice him, I think he deserves a figure. And I heard that his documentary is being canned. Is that true?
Oh, really? I didn't know that. I was about to ask you, when's the documentary coming out?
I've heard it's been canned. So I don't know whether that was a bit of a joke. I saw someone took a photo with him, and it said at Mania, and said he's spewing that this guy's what's the name documentary was canned. Could be a joke. I'm not sure, but that's what I read.
So for me, great question. Firstly, I would love Shaq as a figure, or Dennis Rodman. So Rodman and Shaq could both be elites.
Yeah,
I think they would be bloody awesome. And the scale, because Shaq would be so huge, and Rodman compared to the other elites. Steve Campbell in the comments has suggested Cyndi Lauper, which would be really cool. Now, they've got the Hollywood line of elites where they've got the Rock, the Cena, and the Rowdy Piper. Would love to see the Legends of Mania line. So even Regis. How good would a Regis figure be? Remember Regis at Mania?
No, which one was Regis?
Oh, was it Mania 3 or 4? Come on, Steve, you would know that one. Regis, who was following around Kathy Lee, and he kept trying to find her. At every little break, they couldn't find Hugh Jackman. Brad Perryman has suggested that's a great suggestion.
Yeah,
from his brief stint. Johnny Knoxville now. I bet you $1 million he'll get a figure.
What about Logan Paul? Logan Paul was at WrestleMania. What did you think of that?
Paul, I was so surprised at how well he did. His match, he could have been a seasoned pro.
Yeah, it looked. I saw the highlights of that match, and I thought, wow, he's obviously worked his ass off to be able to perform at that level.
And wearing the $5 million Pokemon card around his neck.
The Illustrator, yeah. Yep.
Yeah, I've got one of those. But I just put it in a box somewhere. I'll leave it for another day.
In an ice cream container. That's a good question. That's the Shaq is brilliant. Rodman is brilliant. I'm just trying to think of any other celebrity that. Anyway, I'm sure Trump. There we go. Donald Trump. Donald Trump would be a classic with a shaved head.
Don't know how well that one would sell. I don't think.
Yeah.
So.
Great question.
We should compile a list. We'll start a thread on the social media group and see who else we can add for people who've had longer cameos into WWE.
Yep. Okay, another one from Luke Young. Does any non-pay-per-view match stick out as a memorable moment from watching when you were a kid that you still like to rewatch now? Good question.
Non-pay-per-view.
Pay-per-view, yeah.
When I was a kid, the only thing I could watch was pay-per-views as VHSs or occasionally a Wild World of Sports. I did enjoy watching the sort of off-the-grid shows when they'd have like a WrestleFest VHSs. And one thing, I was watching one of these the other day, one thing I always loved was the 40-man Battle Royals. But to start 40 hulking dudes in a ring together and quite often having at least 20 or 30 big sort of stars in the ring. And you just think this is chaos and anything can happen. And I was always hooked. As soon as I saw Battle Royal on an event card and I didn't have the result in my mind, I was hooked. I'd watch it no matter what. However, these days, anything Royal Rumbles and Battle Royals, I find hard to watch if I know the result.
Yeah. I can't think where I saw it. I can't remember who he was wrestling, but Mr. Perfect was just an all-round, whether it was pay-per-view or a non-pay-per-view, he was just a classic world-class wrestler. And, he would always – it was between, him, Bret Hart, even though Hulk Hogan and Warrior, my top two favorites, but Bret Hart in terms of skill and ability and what's his face, Mr. Perfect, they were true wrestlers, right? It was just skill, and I couldn't even tell you. But like you say, I think pay-per-views were pretty much all we had the opportunity to watch as a kid. Hey,
the art of wrestling is starting to get lost. It's become more just crash and bash, and last man standing is going to be the winner. I think the biggest mistake that wrestling has moved from is when somebody hits a finishing move, the match is not over. So as a kid, the build-up was always to who could lock in that finishing move, because once you've locked in the finishing move, the match was over. And watching WrestleMania and you see people hit their finishing move 3, 4, 5 times, and the person still kicks out, and you're like, what's the point of having a finishing move? It's gone away from the that was probably more of the theater of wrestling. Now it's more fighting, like it's than wrestling. But Hogan hits the leg, the match is over. Macho hits the elbow, match is over. $1 Million Man locks in that $1 Million Dream, match is over. Now, Edge hits a spear, we'll kick out. Edge hits another spear, gets to the rope. It just feels like it's just like they're just extending matches for no reason.
I remember when I saw Jake the Snake out here doing his talking tour. That's one thing he said. He just said he can't even watch it anymore because it just goes forever. He goes, in the olden days, WrestleManias were over in 2 hours. Yeah. And matches didn't last.
15-minute matches. 15 minutes is the max, because what it does is it keeps your focus. So if you know a match is only going to be 10 to 15 minutes, it keeps you focused, and it can be shorter and it can